in a little bit though, because he did say he was going to be the late game carry that this team lacked last year. Ninja often dying a lot in the late game, and that's why a lot of the games fell apart. So that does speak a little bit more to the conservative aspect of Team EnVy. You do not have the same type of craziness in the early game from the mid lane.
Well, we can see jungle bans already started. This is pretty similar to game one, if I recall correctly. Olaf and Rengar banned for EnVy. Liquid banning Lucian and Zac. There's Kennen. So there is a change.
Yeah, and they can just first pick Elise if Team Liquid doesn't ban it. So they are absolutely in the driver's seat here with 4 junglers banned already and holding that first pick.
Well, Liquid has Jace banned again, so we'll see if EnVy just goes straight back to what has been working for them. Seems like they are discussing at least a little bit here, but Seraph going to type in Elise, and there's the first pick.
Yeah, looking at all-time win rates for ReignOver as we're talking about it is, you know, aside from champions where he's only played one time, you know, Elise was actually his highest win rate champion. So keeping that out of his hands, very important.
It is kind of one of the champions that does escape you every now and then, but was something he played very effectively. Liquid, though, apparently running this duo back every single game. Xayah and Rakan once more.
Yeah, 3 out of 3. Really, Team EnVy nonplussed by Piglet and Matt down in that bottom lane. Probably going to go with Caitlyn Karma once again. Piglet's gotten fed in all of the games against this, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's because of the laning phase. It's more been because of the game state. So I think EnVy is pretty confident opting into that matchup.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like it. Apollo and Hakuho have had a string of very good lanes on this combination in particular, so no reason not to play that again. I think if there are adjustments moving through the rest of this draft, it'll be kind of fun to see is maybe just Liquid goes straight back to the Galio. GoldenGlue did look very good on it. I mean, we expected to be his champion given the 2 Galio games we've seen from Liquid already, but there is still flexibility, so a lot to love about these first 3 picks for Liquid.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly the same as what we saw in game 1.
Maybe.
From both sides, order-wise. Gonna have to double check on that, but I believe that is the case. So Fiora bans coming through from Liquid right here because they still want to be able to put the Galio top lane if they so choose, which is what they did the last time they red side picked Galio.
Cannon last time, I think Galio lost, so very similar. Certainly Xayah and Rakan would have been in those phases, but yeah, Fiora, Ivern actually, the bans for Liquid and EnVy respectively. Looks like ReignOver still getting picked on as far as jungle pool goes, and these 3 picks they had before, but they will not get Cannon or Olaf on the Liquid side, so gonna have to put together a very different looking comp. As you can see, GoldenGlue is talking very intently about something with Coach David Lim, but there's the Renekton ban for Liquid, so taking that away from Seraph.
I can just play Galio against anything. I can just press my Q and I get my CS. I mean, that's in a case, sometimes how it works in the mid lane. He's a very safe mid lane champion, but want to maintain their flexibility here. So many more junglers off the table, but Gragas is still a pretty serviceable jungler and something ReignOver has played a lot of, so still on the board. Opting actually for a Syndra ban instead of taking out another jungler and Gragas, potentially questionable for EnVy.
Maybe, but the level of flex picks continues for Liquid, so Galio and Gragas can go a number of positions that we've seen already in the
And they did ban Taliyah!
No, of course not. Why would you ban Taliyah against Pirean?
Why would you ban Taliyah? Why would you not give Team EnVy exactly the same 5 champions that they beat you with in game 1 when you have every opportunity to prevent it? But they do. They're potentially more fearful of the Renekton than Pirean's Taliyah. There's a chance that is what David Lim and GoldenGlue were talking about before that, whether or not they would be willing to beat it with a Lucian, apparently, and that's what we got here.
Alrighty, so Cassiopeia, get her out. Didn't like her at all. That, I'm pretty sure, is a Lucian mid for GoldenGlue, unless there is super funky stuff happening there in the mid lane. But there will be 2 marksmen in this game, and one of them will likely belong to GoldenGlue.
Piglet's just like, I don't want to trade. I want Lucian.
I like this champion.
Let me take him bot lane instead. No, they're going to keep Xayah and Rakan together, but I love it. This is awesome. You can see it definitely added some energy even into the comms of EnVy right there. I think Lucian should be good against Taliyah. You just need to dash over the 1 seismic shove skill shot, and then Taliyah loses almost all kill threats. So I love the confidence from GoldenGlue as well, because he just played Galio, got his jive back, and now going all in with the Lucian.
And that's what I was going to say. If we kind of look at this series as like a little 3-part story arc for GoldenGlue, who's a player we've been following very closely. Game 1, tragedy, disappointment, nothing goes right.
Yeah.
Just feels like it's all falling apart. And then Galio goes back to something simple, straightforward, plays a very clean, solid
basics,
game.
Trains well.
Exactly. And now, he's like, you know what? I couldn't do it in game 1 on the Casio. I had a solid game on pretty simple, more supportive champion. My team expects me to be flexible, to be diverse, and to carry when they need me. So I will pick a carry, and I will carry the out of this team.
Fox will soon buy the rights to this story.
There you go.
And call it the Fantastic Four.
GoldenGlue, an LCS story. Let's see how it ends.
Yeah.
Game 3 between EnVy and Team Liquid begins now.
Oh, man. It's been a long day, PastryTime. 6 games for you in the Battle Theatre. I believe every series today is going the distance, so parity reigns supreme in the North American LCS. These teams just battling it out with one another.
That's good. That's what we had in spring, so why not bring it back here for summer as TL getting active level 1, grouping up together, but so are EnVy. It seems like plans are in place. Let's see which one works best.
Yeah, and EnVy knows what they want to do. They ran this exact strategy in game 1. They have a lot of rotations. They move very quickly across the map. Pirean tries to get the shove in the mid lane, roam side to side. A lot of it is about LirA and making plays with the Elise, though. As soon as they get one pick with a cocoon, they can fly that into a turret because everyone on this team is so mobile and generally has the lane shoving early on in the game.
Well, right now it's just kind of a chill spot for EnVy. All hanging out, maybe expecting some sort of prepared invade for TL, but not going to happen this time. Pirean's going to surf back to lane, excuse me. Base would be a little too far, but shouldn't take him too long to get there. Check some brushes, and looks like LirA will start on the Raptors. Taliyah will be there just in time to help. GoldenGlue with a nice little ward, though. He's going to try and get some free harass down, but Pirean doesn't walk too close to the ward he just saw.
Yeah, still going to be fairly obvious about helping out LirA. Taliyah, he stole one by accident, I believe. That would have to be an accident. A messed up pull there.
Well, it does get a bit of experience, so we'll be 2 off this wave, but Taliyah can't really capitalize that much with a quick level 2. Lucian can, but GoldenGlue going to be slightly behind on XP, and they're at least level 2 already, so quickly clears the camp, the help from Pirean, at least doing most of what it's supposed to do.
Still, it's level 2 eventually, just doesn't get the same XP jump. Generally, I think that means he won't hit level 4 off of his 5th camp, which normally happens when you start with the Raptors. It's the only 5 camp clear order that gives you level 4. That's why so many junglers start Raptors. But it doesn't happen if people steal them away.
One little Raptor got away from Pirean. It's level 2 here for both the top laners. Lourlo back on the Galio. See if he's inspired by his teammate. Game number 2. Seraph definitely had a strong run of this exact lane as GoldenGlue barely misses out on dashing over those rocks. That was really slick.
Yes. Gotta be a little careful not to dash too much over the unraveled earth, but if you're dashing out of the seismic shove, you still prevent a large amount of the damage. And then Pirean can only shove so much with threaded volley. GoldenGlue should at least be able to CS under turret. Surprised he goes Doran's Blade instead of Doran's Shield. We can kind of guarantee he doesn't get poked out, but either way still works.
A bit more aggressive perhaps as Apollo and Hakuho up to their old tricks in bottom lane. Hard shoving Piglet and Matt under that turret. Pirean dips off. Looks like he might have been trying to look for ReignOver. He's just been kind of farming casually through the jungle on the Gragas early on. So we'll have to see if any big leads materialize. CS is almost even across the board at this stage, but we've definitely seen EnVy get the better of a lot of these lanes, and they do pick to win lanes so often that shouldn't be a big surprise.
Yeah, and this is their 3rd time playing this exact matchup against the exact same players. Game 1, I didn't have a huge CS lead. Game 2, at 15 minutes, they're up 50 CS. Even though Piglet has gotten fed in the rest of the games by kills, but it's kind of why both teams are comfortable playing this. And I'm curious to see if Piglet and Matt have identified, what went wrong in that lane to make them so far behind CS, or if it's something that Apollo and Hakuho can reliably do to them, because we've seen even the top lane matchup go Seraph's way CS-wise the first time we played against Lourlo, so a lot of this will be about how the players adapt to each other on the same matchups.
Well, they're correcting kind of some of the early game at least. Galio was very good in the early levels, but ReignOver's little addition might really mess things up. He's actually in the brush. Seraph's about to walk through.
Oh!
There's the body thing, going to force the flag and drag away. Lourlo was not in position for the follow-up, sadly.
Yeah, that feels like something where they may have been able to CC chain. Seraph gets away without even his flash and was out of corruption potion stacks anyway, so it's probably fine using his teleport. Great gank path, but I don't think they quite nailed the execution since it was a face check into that brush.
And ReignOver did have to wait for the wave to bounce, so a bit of a time waste for him, as LirA's going to spot him now, and he'll be the one to get the jump. In fact, ReignOver taking so much damage already, does knock him back. GoldenGlue roaming over to try and help his jungler out, but LirA, who's just going to rappel down, go to GoldenGlue. They're going to try and turn it back as the exhaust is down for the Lucian. Barrel going to cook, Cocoon is going to miss, and that'll force both sums from the mid laner.
And the heal burned by Pirean. Still going to be advantage, and now he's even harassing ReignOver's Raptors, and that's the punishment of not landing your first game in a lot of situations. It allowed LirA to wait for him in the river and get the jump.
We can see again, Apollo and Hakuho is shoving them down. Piglet and Matt getting harassed by both ranged champions under their turret, as LirA lining up a dive. It's a smart play here from LirA. He knows that one little kill on GoldenGlue could really spiral this lane out of control.
Oh, summoner spells. Can he get the cocoon?
GoldenGlue trying to fight it out. Good little dodge of the cocoon, but LirA's going to dive back in instead. That's first blood for Envy.
Yeah, it was really interesting, actually, what happened with the way it looks like LirA's cocoon missed by a country mile, because you're expecting GoldenGlue to dash under his turret in hopes of getting a kill back in a 1v2. If he dashes back the way he did, even if the cocoon misses, you're actually not taking turret aggro anymore when you're killing them. So he dashed away. LirA and Pirean pick up the kill. And we're going to watch this one more time. Most likely dead regardless of where he dashes. Pirean didn't take turret aggro. LirA did, immediately takes it up with repel. Very easy gank for them. Either way, GoldenGlue dash, he's probably dead.
Yep, and LirA off to the races. Finally, it feels like in the series with the first blood going over to him, Elise can snowball very quickly if things can get out of hand. So we'll see if LirA revisits mid lane perhaps, or looks somewhere else to try and challenge another lane, or even ReignOver, who's actually looking some sort of invade here towards the Krugs. We'll spot them with a nice little ward just right of LirA, but ReignOver doesn't really have anything to farm, so just kind of going for a stroll, gonna get a control ward perhaps. GoldenGlue's coming down as well. Looks like they have spotted the ward, so they'll take that out, and ReignOver is gonna try and steal away these Raptor camps.
GoldenGlue in a pretty good spot here. Lourlo also getting a lot of poke off on a Seraph who's gone cull, actually. Really just trying to sustain and delay this lane for a later power spike, but against Triple Doran, that's a tricky lane for him to survive, and Lourlo should have the push for the majority of it.
Yeah, we can see Pirean was thinking about roaming up there and doing some damage, but does just take the plant down instead. GoldenGlue gets a ward kill in mid lane, I believe. It must have been put there earlier. And now LirA actually visiting mid. He's going to see this control ward, but I think this is the right lane to revisit. Pirean's got great setup if you land your initial cocoon, and GoldenGlue does not have summoners.
Yeah, and I think something I want to continue to track is how does GoldenGlue perform after the first thing in the game goes wrong? First game, he actually had a very good early laning phase as Cassiopeia. Died in the jungle invade. No positive plays in there. Galio game, reset, never died. Never had anything go wrong, really. And had a great game from start to finish, but early on here, skirmish in the river, cost both the summoners, ends in a dive, makes him first blood, and got to bounce back now.
Yeah, Lucian is the champion as well, that you have to leverage the strength of his early game. So it's not only good for him personally to make sure he really goes at it and just kind of plays hard in this game, but he needs to on the champion that he's picked for himself on this in this composition. On the other side, though, Envy 1,000 gold up, so things looking good for them. Again, farm leads in the bottom lane, and kind of around some other sections of the map, but not really. But most importantly, the first blood for LirA kind of all moves themselves into a good, strong early advantage. Everyone's just kind of chilling out for the next few seconds, though. Piglet and Matt now almost level 6 on both of them. Piglet's already 6, and you can definitely see the lane shift a little bit in dynamics when Rakan can threaten such quick initiations. Ooh.
Absolutely. Quick call out for the damage.
Yep, nice dodge with a shove there from GoldenGlue as well. I think Pirean just kind of guessed. Lucian's pretty zippy, so have to be careful. As Matt now level 6 looking for a roam in the mid lane. He's going to spot LirA. Actually, they'll just drive by each other. And Matt's just going to wander back through a ward, put one down himself, and hope Piglet doesn't take too much damage while he's alone 1v2. Hakuho with a great bit of poke. Ace in the hole's going to land there as well, and Piglet, 25% health left. Is Pirean going to try and move ReignOver out of the way? Does dash all the way through the earth, so ReignOver taking a big chunk of damage.
Just face tanking that damage as Gragas very confidently moving forward. That would have been disastrous if LirA was waiting for him. Not to mention, Piglet ended up taking a bunch of poke because everyone knew Matt was missing, so not a good little trade sequence right there for Team Liquid. You don't notice it because no kills have fallen through, but they essentially lost pressure in bottom lane and in the jungle, so could very well cost him down the line.
Yep, again, you can see Apollo with a nice little peacemaker after that auto attack. Just damaging Piglet further and further. Not even incite a dive if they can bait out an ultimate, but here's something again. Matt looks for the charm, does not get the knockout though. Apollo, I think, buffered a net through that.
Ooh, well, the knockoff and the charm from the quickness is relatively short at early ranks. It's only 1 second charm, and I feel like he just waited the 1 second, flashed away, and then ReignOver didn't chain with the flash body slam, but 2 flashes burned from Team Liquid for just the flash of Apollo.
Well, we can check it all later, but that did not connect onto Apollo, and that's a lot of cooldowns burnt. Rakan, when he doesn't have his flash, and of course when he doesn't have his ultimate, it just feels so much less threatening. And Envy and Hakuho, Apollo and Hakuho have already been running them over here in bottom lane.
And it's double too. The Gragas flash is down as well. And that just means that Apollo and Hakuho are probably going to push with a bit of impunity. Even though he has no flash, still has his net, still has the Karma who can speed him away. Should be able to just continue to try and bully this lane and a lot of turret damage as a result.
I mean, Apollo's literally meeting the wave as it comes in and starting to shove, but TL's duo are basing, so does want to make sure this crashes into the turret ASAP. Piglet's already backed off though. He took a little too much damage for his own liking, and Apollo and Hakuho even going to stay just for turret harass here. It's just Matt, and this turret is already awfully low. Pirean's also roaming down to secure it. Matt has to dash away, gets ordered by Apollo, but Hakuho is still working on it. Should be first turret over to Envy, and all of a sudden, they have actually a pretty massive gold lead for this early in the game.
And this is what they wanted to happen in that lane in game 1, when actually it was Team Liquid who got the first turret because they were able to execute a couple kills down there. But that's how the Caitlyn Karma should work, especially when the enemy team uses all their threat, comes up short. They just knew exactly what to do. So well played there by Apollo and Hakuho.
Pirean also fading back towards this right-hand side. LirA moving through the lane. Might be trying something here in mid. ReignOver's here as well. GoldenGlue going to get aggressive and onto Pirean. Has the bilge water as ReignOver again. Eats all that burst damage to try and ulti Pirean back, but just get some trade damage of his own instead.
Keeps body slamming through that work.
He's going to make it work.
Through that unravel. Sorry, I need the skill name. Unraveled Earth. Taking a bunch of damage and really has no benefit of doing so.
Well, again, no flash charge for Gragas to do too much work there. TL continuing to press up and aggressive. I mean, ReignOver has been very active on the map. So has Matt, moving things around with the Rakan, but unless they're trying a dive here, oh, they are actually. Good quickness in a double knockup. Piglet looking to lock one down. There's Apollo dead. ReignOver getting credit for the kill. Hakuho will escape, but had to burn both summoners.
Yeah, really sneaky to get into that spot of the jungle. Not expected at all by Apollo, and Hakuho burn the double summoners and still get a kill on the AD. So quick advantage to them if they can pressure quickly enough to get the turret down. LirA taking his time on this Rift Herald, but now they have it and they can push another turret.
Yeah, comfortable solo there for LirA. We'll see where he does take the Herald in the next few minutes. Cloud Drake though for TL is going to go over to them, and it does feel like Envy, if it's not an Infernal, they don't want it. Not interested in fighting, at least for this first one. Happy to trade the Herald for it instead. But Drake number 1 does go over to TL.
Yeah, Cloud Drake, still feel like does help a lot with initiation particularly. Gives you that move speed difference over his opponent.
Oh, yep. They were going to channel the Herald already.
Yep. And the timing is actually perfect. I mean, GoldenGlue's not mid lane. This is easily going to take that first turret.
Charge damage starting up. Culling is going to just get most of the wave, but not all of it.
Oh, didn't quite get it. ReignOver's there to hold.
I feel like maybe they can't stay. I mean, the Herald tanking for them, but
I think they could have gotten a few autos off knowing ReignOver's flash was down, but did not want to risk it. Piglet and Matt were missing, and they had just died after losing track of them for a while, so that was probably the reason they didn't continue to push that through. Still, next time GoldenGlue goes back to base, that turret falls. Yep,
no reason to play overly aggressive. So Envy kind of know that we'll get this eventually in short enough time that we're not concerned about getting it just then. In fact, now Collapse is starting it onto Matt, but he dances away to Xayah. So much range on that battle dance.
Yeah, Karma catching you in the jungle is a little bit different than Rakan catching you in the jungle. Rakan will kill you because of the quick dash and CC, whereas Karma will throw a inner flame towards you and you just jump over the wall. So, much different.
Certainly. And Seraph and Lourlo still battling. Lourlo still pretty comfortably ahead. There's the mid turret going down that we expected, though, over to Envy. And again, that gold lead's still strong. 3,000 gold ahead. We'll see how EnVy look to kind of open up the rest of this map. Didn't get the first Drake, but traded it for effectively mid-turret with the Herald going down.
You don't really have the lane pressure either in this game, so going to be tricky. They need to rely a lot on Matt to make plays for the team, since aside from that, it's just double marksman, Gragas, and Galio. So they'll have the front line. When it gets there, it takes a while for the game to move to that point, especially Gragas jungle. Early is really not the same as Gragas top lane, since a lot of them still go with the Runic Echoes, which is what ReignOver has done as well. So he's not tanky and won't be a super tank at any point in this game, mainly used for his initiation and burst damage actually right now.
Well, keeping the waves back to the turret because the bottom outer turret is very low for EnVy. Wanting to hold on to that gold for as long as possible. GoldenGlue though getting mid lane shoved in, but he cannot be playing too aggressively with his turret down. Does feel like, again, continued invades towards his bottom lane though for TL, and EnVy might be in position to counter. Pirean has been waiting a while with this wall.
The teleport coming in early from Seraph once again.
Yep, we're going to shove the waves down, but the turret has already fallen. There's the wall from Pirean, going to try and cut them all off. ReignOver into the wall, does get a couple, but Pirean already took down Matt. Now Piglet has to keep cutting out of the way. He does have ulti, forced to burn it there, but Pirean flashed over the other side, and a great Cocoon's going to seal his fate. Seraph with the second kill there, and 2-0 over to EnVy.
And they want more, actually.
Oh, that's not going to work too well.
Dash out and flash.
Later on, King helping. GoldenGlue already burnt the flash, but Seraph needs to get the next knock-up. Dash will be back up for GoldenGlue.
So back in a second.
Yep, does dash out of the way now, going to keep cutting, but Seraph just going to hit him down. There's the ultimate from Galio. Going to try it safe and gets that double knock-up. GoldenGlue could turn it all back around. Lourlo just in time. Takes down Seraph.
And a whole bunch of greed from Seraph right there after EnVy winning the whole exchange and could have easily just backed away, thought they'd chase down that extra kill into a poor little Lucian. It was not to be the case. Watching this one more time, I mean, Seraph's here. He's teleported in, and the Taliyah. The teleport. Where's the teleport? He was hoping for someone to put a ward down, I imagine, because it waited about 5 seconds after the fight had started before Galio could come in. So Lourlo feels like he almost wasted it to arrive after 2 of his team members have died there. And then the long chase, flash ultimate, and I guess once he did that, he assumed he'd be able to chase down for the rest of the kill, but just wasn't to be. I mean, GoldenGlue had exhaust. We don't need to see that again. It was a slow play fight, but let's turn around.
Well, at least using the ulti, despite missing the TP, able to turn at least 1 kill around and make it 2 for 1 overall. Still in favor of EnVy, though, as LirA gets the blue buff. Was likely not the intended recipient. And still playing aggressive here for TL. That's spotted Seraph. W not going to connect. Seraph flag and direct away. That takes down the blast cone. It's a pretty nice siege. This tier 2 is got a wave behind it.
Caitlyn's off on the top lane by herself. Something Apollo does a lot. Solo lane split pushing by himself.
Should get him pretty far ahead on XP and farm, but close means the rest of his team has to kind of commit to the rest of the 4v4 themselves. Thankfully, no major objectives up just yet. Ocean Drake not up for just over a minute, and Rift Herald already got taken quite early by LirA, who soloed it away. So Apollo's now going to leave that area. Doesn't want to be up there for too long without help, and looks like he'll join his team. Maybe try and kick the rest of Liquid out of this bottom lane.
Oh, very aggressive flag and drag there.
Oh, there's the charm actually landing it onto Seraph, but Matt zips back away towards Xayah. Piglet still firing feathers, but EnVy just hold firm. They need to overcommit, and again, nothing really up to fight for just now. As GoldenGlue is pretty relentless in shoving these waves in. Pirean are able to dance away pretty easily, and GoldenGlue is still waiting on item number 2 to really get things rolling. Although Pirean is not doing too much on the item front just yet. It's going to go top lane now instead and make sure he takes down these minions. And I think maybe he's the one to hold this wave. And as Apollo's now back down bottom lane, getting the next wave that's joining him.
Yeah, by himself. And because Hakuho needs to roam around, and at this point in the game, Apollo does not need a babysitter to help him out in lane. Wave's still generally pushing for EnVy, which is what they want. And the Drake respawning here is a good timing for them, since they had just reshoved the bottom lane and Team Liquid had recalled. But Team Liquid is now ahead of the game on the top side, so they're going to want to start evening out these turrets, because there is still a lot of standing gold left on the map. Outer turrets still yet to fall in a lot of places.
Drake over to EnVy. That will split the first 2. Cloud for TL, and now the Ocean picked up for EnVy. Seraph looking for an engage. Once ReignOver does get the Cataclysm, traps Matt in there as well, and forces ReignOver to flash out of the way. Q not going to land for Hakuho. Ace in the hole's going to poke. Matt dances over to ReignOver. Now Pirean's here to try and take him down. The shove is there. And Pirean takes down ReignOver.
And TL doesn't finish the turret. The cannon minion and minions will actually finish it, it looks like, up in the top side.
Pirean trying to save it. He's not going to do so as the turret does fall over, but GoldenGlue are going to get aggressed on Cocoon attempt by LirA. Is very, very bold, but GoldenGlue is trying to kite away there with Lourlo.
Alive!
Good taunt there as Matt does manage to chomp through almost all of them. He actually does take Hakuho as the last one, and now TL leap into action. Piglet trying to find a few more kills, but EnVy flash away, but now there's mid-outer turrets under siege.
EnVy underestimating the damage reduction from the Galio when they are just tunnel visioning onto GoldenGlue in these back-to-back fights right now, and GoldenGlue refuses to go down thanks to the damage reduction from Lourlo. It's basically what's keeping Team Liquid in this game.
Well, they've done a nice job fighting it out, but watch this one again. I mean, GoldenGlue not in the best possible position, but EnVy didn't really have cooldown to try and get onto him.
Yep, don't land much hard CC, do knock him up, but then the Galio comes in, knocks up 2 and gets a taunt. Not finishing anyone through that unless you kill him basically before the channel begins. Gets a kill turned around onto LirA. LirA not having a good series.
Yep, mid turret also did go down, so TL actually up in turrets. 3-2 now, despite the gold still being up in EnVy ever so slightly. You can kind of see again, TL have done a good job holding on. EnVy have not executed nearly as well as we've seen in past games all year long, and TL are able to capitalize well, kind of use their different combinations to keep one of their 2 carries alive, and this comp seems like it will get quite a bit better as the game ticks on, and if GoldenGlue and Piglet have free reign in any team fight, they should take over on the damage front.
Yeah, absolutely should, and it's going to be tricky to get into the backline and prevent that damage from coming through, because we had that whole discussion about Jarvan and how he activates in a team fight. He can be tanky, but he doesn't really have ways of stopping you from doing damage. So he'll just be getting free hit when he dives in against those 2 and may not be able to reach a point where he can survive that. So EnVy's going to have to do a lot to get picks onto both that Lucian and Xayah.
Well, mid lane right now, Piglet caught, but able to root Seraph back. In fact, now Seraph kind of caught out of position, knockback by the ulti from Gragas, but Seraph lives through the burst damage. Not even that tanky. 2 items not done yet for Seraph, still working on that Titanic, but able to live through. Is that Pirean caught out of position? GoldenGlue going to try and chase him down. 2 items here for the Lucian, just has to dodge all of the volleys, just flashes in for it. Pirean now going to move through, does dash through the rocks.
Uh-oh.
Here's LirA going to look to turn it around. There's Hakuho as well. GoldenGlue got nowhere to run, and LirA shuts that down.
Goes for the big play, comes up short. The team also not really in a position to take an objective right here. They wanted to maybe push that mid lane with the cannon, but get nothing out of it.
Good to see GoldenGlue at least playing with confidence, moving into that lane, but certainly not set up well. Although wasn't even around for a potential ultimate. Piglet's getting chunked by Ace in the hole. And Apollo still leveraging a 30 CS lead over Piglet with 2 items done. So watch GoldenGlue's attempt again. He thought he had it here. Yeah,
just trying to get the burst down, but honestly not enough burst. Pirean hugs the wall, GoldenGlue loses vision, the rest of EnVy arrives. GoldenGlue didn't have that much vision when he went in for that, really just thought he did more burst damage than he actually did. The Seeker's Arm Guard as well as the health from Leandri's Torment, I feel like, making him deceptively resilient to GoldenGlue.
And Pirean has been up here for quite a while, but finally able to take down that outer turret and even that all the way back up. So turret's going out even. Seraph actually getting pressure in this bottom side of the map, and once again we kind of turn back to EnVy and say, looks like they might have control of this game. Liquid have done a good job finding spots together. Matt especially has done a great job initiating on Rakan, and everyone's been following up well, but when those sort of positions aren't gifted to you, if EnVy are going to play you around the map this much, you have to be able to respond to that as well.
Yeah, you got to be able to group up and make the right calls as a unit. And I still believe Xayah and Rakan in late game team fights can do insane things, especially against how EnVy doesn't have that much tank presence in their team comp. They can still win, even if they're down 3, 4, 5,000 gold later on in the game, but they have to get to that team fight. And that's something they were unable to do in game 1 against this exact same EnVy composition.
Yeah, Apollo also with a QSS now, so feeling a lot safer. It's difficult to get out of the quickness, but it is possible. You cannot get out on the knockup part, of course, so I guess you can QSS flash out if you absolutely want to.
Yeah, that's the thing is, you can QSS early, but then you're probably going to get hit by the next part of the CC, since they're different spells chaining the CC into each other when you're playing against Rakan. QSS, not actually the best thing to defend against it.
We'll see if we can make use of it, though. Certainly haven't seen too many players get out of the Rakan combo. There's a reason for that. It's very good and very, very fast. But you can see Apollo, I feel like I saw this in game 1. Piglet eating ridiculous amounts of damage from Apollo. And he only has 2 items this time.
Yeah, it wasn't even a trap there. That was just a static shiv headshot onto Piglet as he was pushing the wave. Caitlyn vastly outranges the Rakan.
Everyone, but definitely Xayah. And that's kind of the reason she's such a popular bot lane pick. Apollo is very comfortable on this champion. I feel like every opportunity they get, EnVy take it. And you know, if EnVy do win this game with like the same comp from game 1, we're gonna definitely have to start asking the questions. All right, when are people really gonna attack EnVy and pick and ban?
Yeah, absolutely, but still pretty close. One Matt go for a play.
Good charm knockup, but doesn't land in. Apollo does get the QSS in time, able to walk out of the way of the knockup. Now the TP in for Seraph, pokes Lourlo, does go onto him, actually gonna try and take him down in the front line. Knockback there from Seraph, looks to try and move some back in as Piglet. He's doing a good amount of damage. Matt again tries to cover him with a knockup as Piglet featherstorms out, only roots Hakuho. Everyone fairly low and no one down.
Yeah, Lourlo used his ultimate very early on in the fight in an attempt to engage with it, and that, I thought that would kind of make EnVy go super aggressive since that defensive ability wouldn't be up there, but they can never really lock someone down, and Team Liquid rushing the Baron with their double marksman in.
Pirean knows.
EnVy is off.
He's gonna wall in as well. Yeah, he does know now for sure. Drake is down. ReignOver is actually pretty low. Pirean's just going to start chunking them out. Lourlo is here to run interference, but Baron is just going down low. I think they're just going to commit to it. Apollo looking to maybe snipe somebody down. Does get Matt. Baron is low. Who got it? It is Piglet. TL able to get it, but Seraph is going to try and chase him down. Apollo shooting GoldenGlue as Hakuho gets himself out. He's going to try and kite, but it doesn't do anything. Apollo finds a double kill, but everyone else from TL gets away. Baron is theirs.
Only 2 deaths, but what is that actually going to cost them right now? Because everyone's still recalling and EnVy trying to stay on the offensive as much as possible. Super bold call by Team Liquid. They get the Baron, but now they need to hold.
Might lose this turret in mid lane, give the turret lead back over to EnVy. ReignOver though, ultimate already ready. Does get LirA. Taunt lands in as well from Lourlo. Good repel actually. But Seraph's going to be the next target. LirA has to get out of the way. Apollo still shooting forward as Pirean. Going to try and cut off Lourlo. Cataclysm's there. Knocks him back in, but the taunt is still going to land. Matt goes right in for it. And there's the hero's entrance for a little bit of extra reduction. But Lourlo finally down as Apollo's on a killing spree.
Nearly tragic as the Taliyah throws the Galio outside of the Cataclysm, but they get the 1 kill. Team Liquid does hold the turret, so still I'd say gold positive on this Baron, but it's not holding that way for long. They're going to continue this assault on mid while pushing bot.
Yeah, Apollo has to be careful here, but just buying time for his team. On the other side, EnVy, they have decided to reset and spend their gold. Apollo has 2,400 gold to spend. We'll see what he gets, but this Baron was very bold by Liquid.
It goes down to 109 as the smite never goes off for ReignOver in that fight because he was too low. Also just doesn't time it properly, and nearly disaster for Team Liquid, but they do get the Baron.
Again, still have the buff for about 2 minutes. EnVy were able to play after getting a few kills. But everything should be A-okay right now. It looks like Apollo was farming out on the map. Now has a Immortal Reminder. Fully bought. Didn't have any components.
Yeah, really farming for quite a while before getting that one. Wants to cut down on, I guess there's a decent amount of healing on the game. Blade the Rune King Lucian, Gragas' sustain. A little bit questionable on that buy right now. I much would have rather seen probably just the normal Last Whisper into a rapid fire cannon just for his overall damage output, but probably had the right gold.
Certainly would have. Let's see. Apollo again should scale just fine as the game goes on. Not like Piglet will scale badly, but the fights that TL have to set up are very different. We've seen how self-sufficient Apollo can be. Oh my god, goodbye creep wave. So Apollo just static shifts that one down. Good flank though started here. Matt gonna get the knockup once again. Charm plus W able to give Piglet a kill onto LirA.
Yeah, and it feels like LirA is the one that actually gets caught by Rakan more often than not. Now you can see he's switched up his build from game 1 on Elise. He's going much tankier because he knows he has been getting caught out and he's struggling, I guess, with his position, trying to be as tanky as possible.
TL still in the offensive though, sieging up this tier 2 turret. Again, Baron only 30 seconds left. Who's got it? There's ReignOver. No, he died. Someone still got it, surely.
Piglet's got it.
There we go. He's got to get over to the wave and get that started, but looks like TL won't get too much done with their siege overall. Still equal in turrets with no tier 2s being knocked down on either side. But TL might have one last little Baron push to try and take it down.
And LirA still reviving. Nice calling to zone him off the turret. Does Seraph have other ideas?
Taunt channel there. Ooh, knockback on a GoldenGlue could have been real bad news for TL, but instead, they'll disengage. Ace and the Hawk's going to get tanked by Lourlo.
Looks like they want to stay aggressive on this one, but it's a long way to chase.
Yeah, Seraph instead just meets the wave. Going to take that one down. And Apollo, ooh, I like this a lot from TL. Seraph does check, though. Good presence of mind to not base check all 5 members of TL.
Yeah, and now with no Baron, Team Liquid is going to have a hard time defending that mid lane. Envy didn't go full aggressive, but they're definitely cutting them off a little bit.
Nice cut up there by Pirean, walls them all off, and Lourlo's just trying to fight his way out. Forced to burn the flash, blast cones away, doesn't quite clear the wall. A little too heavy with the golem. Yeah,
no flash Galio. Everyone's still wanting to recall, means it's basically a turret for the taking in the mid lane.
LirA trying for it, but the wave not cooperative enough. No damage really there for Envy, so that wave gets cleared out quickly by ReignOver and Lourlo. Hakuho's going to scoop up the next one. Trying to harass people back in delay recalls for a little while longer, but will hold even on turrets. I believe TL will be back in time just barely to save this mid tier 2, although no, maybe not with Seraph doing the last bit of the work. Although Envy surprisingly are playing very conservative around that turret.
I mean, new split, new Envy in a lot of ways. Ninja's no longer on the team. Pirean definitely wants to be that late game carry for them, and it's been a more conservative Envy early on, at least in these first 2 weeks that we have seen from them. Also have to wonder if Envy was counting their victory after that first game. I mean, after Envy beat Immortals on Friday night, Apollo in his post-game interview did say, oh yeah, we knew this would be the harder of the 2 games this week, so pretty happy to pick up a win. And they are needing to close out here against Team Liquid, although this is the closest game of the series thus far.
Yep, Envy's still up with the lead, but it just doesn't feel like it's that big of a gold lead with the way the teams are playing. TL have done a good job staying together, kind of playing the map around, being proactive, and it does feel like Envy, despite having a remarkably familiar composition that they've already played in the series, aren't quite able to leverage as much of the lead that they had in Game 1, or just aren't playing it as comfortably given that they've been pushed all the way to Game 3. GoldenGlue taking damage though.
And how many times is TL going to wait in a brush next to the mid lane and go for that pick?
Oh, enough times apparently to knock one back. Apollo though just takes down Matt. LirA's going to die, but it's already 4v4 and Apollo still free, hitting everyone. Lourlo is going to get caught up in the Cataclysm as Piglet does burn the ulti to try and get something back. Apollo is still low, but he's getting shielded by the Karma. Need a little bit more to try and take somebody down. GoldenGlue off to the side is going to draw them over, but Pirean's going to wall him off. GoldenGlue may have made a very big mistake, but he dashes through the wall. Seraph, though, is going to chase GoldenGlue's forced to flash away. Apollo flashes over and Pirean on a killing spree takes down the Lucian. ReignOver is going to live, I think, although Seraph's going to dive straight past the turret for him as Apollo does hit it down.
Apollo played that fight really well, not letting, I believe, Matt dash back out of the fight, which you so often see with the Rakan initiations. This is a big win for Envy.
Now the base is broken in the middle. Envy able to chug down 2 turrets and maybe get the in-hit. Not just yet, as Seraph actually going to get hit up here, but drags Lourlo back through the rocks that Pirean have set up already. Apollo's still very strong. TL can't be too gung-ho moving down the mid lane. Oh, ReignOver rooted actually means it's Apollo with a free headshot. He's going to chunk him down, and their Infernal Drake is up, and Baron's up soon, so objectives are getting wildly pinged right now by both teams.
Yeah, and you wonder if Envy overstayed right there, because there's a lot of objectives to be taken after this, but you watch again onto LirA, but he's gone pretty tanky, so it takes them a while to clear him out, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade because they obliterate Matt after his initiation. No Galio ult to help him after he goes in, which I think they should be doing in these games. They did it in Game 2 when GoldenGlue was on the Galio, but Lourlo seems unwilling to combo with Matt. And then you can see they just chased down GoldenGlue because he got a little cut off from his team, and don't pick up ReignOver, if memory serves. I was wondering if they did.
They get the turret instead and almost take down the inhibitors. They pretty big opening for Envy to attack, but right now do have to concern themselves with the objectives. Infernal Drake and the Baron both still available, and TL do have great vision in the Baron area already. Also a giant wave for someone, Seraph, to contend with, as he is going to move down there.
Yeah, Seraph has his teleport up just fine. Didn't go Titanic in this game, actually. Has gone Ravenous Hydra, so more of a split pusher and less of a tank. Not sure about that one with the way this is turning into team fights.
Feels like along the timeline at some point, Seraph inevitably goes back to playing only split pushes. So, you know what, he's giving a little bit of leeway to himself this game, playing a style that's maybe more comfortable for him. I'm sure if we kept going on, it'd be like full split push damage Jarvan. But regardless, Baron is now being started up. TL actually on it quickly. Envy will see it with a redemption, and that's going to force them off. Kind of. Piglet still dealing damage to it.
Yeah, and ReignOver's pretty low without flash. Not really that tanky. I mean, we even got to see him get hit by the ace in the hole and take about a third of his health. So TL wanting out of this one, and they've lost push on the mid lane. Envy actually has a lot of plays they can make here.
Yeah, Pirean again, he's the one that always runs to these lanes because he knows he can get back there soon with the wall. So TL gonna have to run back around but not get cut off by Envy and not lose the Baron.
Yeah, it really feels like Pirean makes such a difference for this team later on in the game. He's the one making the good map plays that is putting Team Liquid on the back foot right now. Now Team Liquid's caught in this back and forth in their own jungle, recalling, defending the inhibitor, defending the turret. And meanwhile, the Infernal Drake is still down there. There's so many points of contention on this map right now.
Yeah, Seraph now going to get the top side wave pushing. Actually, is going to recall right now. Looks like Apollo's done the same because there's the rapid fire cannon we've been looking for. 4-item Caitlyn, pretty much done with just a Mercurial to kind of upgrade that QSS.
That's big. He's 2,500 gold ahead of Piglet, but Piglet still with the Infinity Edge has the ability to have that massive team fight impact if he gets the right Feather Storm into Blade Caller off. And all of that pressure in the mid lane pays off in an Infernal Drake on the other side of the map.
Apollo does shoot the Drake from behind as well. I think he was trying to find the right spot for it, and I think the first order was a rapid fire cannon, so thought he was like, in range already.
No, I'm not.
Infernal Drake does go over to Envy regardless, so they were able to pretty much solo that one down, and we'll kind of reset back around the Baron area. Envy did set up a good trap line. They were the last ones to get vision in the area, so TL now have to go down and do all that hard work of retaking vision of the area without anything going horribly wrong. And Seraph is applying excellent pressure with the Jarvan, moving a huge wave down towards that turret in the bottom lane.
Yeah, gold lead has ballooned a little bit right here. TL has kind of lost access to a lot of their minion waves, and they are getting bullied around the map a little bit. Ardent Sensor onto that 4-item Caitlyn is just so huge right now, and if Apollo stays safe in these fights, it's going to be hard for Team Liquid to pull it out.
It was an item that felt absent from Hakuho's build earlier in the series, but with the Locket duty over to LirA, does feel nice. And Hakuho can kind of build that, help out Apollo even more. In fact, he's just laying into ReignOver right now with auto attacks. That is supposed to be a tank Gragas, and he's just taking a little too much damage. Piglet going to get jumped on by Seraph. Pirean around the other side is going to ride the wall down. Try and take down Piglet. Featherstorm finally there. There's a big taunt from Lourlo. He's trying to disrupt him. Apollo on the other side's fighting up, and GoldenGlue can't get there in time. A shutdown landed onto Pirean, but Apollo lived through the assault. And now I think the cleanup might be here for Envy. It's 3v3, but Piglet is so low on health.
As much as we praise Pirean in this game, he had a bad entrance into that fight. Got baited a little bit by the Featherstorm, but Apollo is so strong!
Flashes in, gets the auto into Piglet and takes him down. Lourlo gonna try buy time for ReignOver and prevent the ace, but Lourlo dead to rights at this stage. Might turn around to Seraph, but Apollo gets a double kill, and Hakuho slows down ReignOver. TP in, flash W there. Seraph wants absolutely everything. ReignOver just trying to run around, jukes him, and actually does get the stun. Might escape as ReignOver very healthy, but Apollo's just gonna run it straight down mid and try and take the inhib.
Yeah, 16 seconds on GoldenGlue, 3 on Matt. They really want this kill to extend the death timers because then they could Baron afterwards, so can't quite chase for the kill. Might turn for Baron regardless.
Pinging instead. ReignOver is up. LirA is up in 2 seconds and has to run all the way to Baron, but Apollo is going to start it off. He'll be the first one to tank it. Now Seraph's going to join in and take the brunt of the damage.
Yeah, we'll see if Team Liquid can even hope to come here. ReignOver did go back to base and is running out as fast as he can, but no smite, remember this.
Rakan does almost no damage.
He's back.
And
they
now
couldn't get the kill.
here.
He has a chance to steal.
Is LirA here? He finally arrived, so they might just go for the 50-50. Pretty risky, though. Seraph and second to try and take down ReignOver. Needs a kill. That's going to be it. Pirean able to lock it down as GoldenGlue lets the culling loose, but the Baron should go over to Envy and does.
And now they're in position to try and push for the win right there. They take down ReignOver once again. GoldenGlue unable to harass from over the wall. Have to check on this pause in a pretty hype moment of the game.
Quite possibly the breaking point of the series. Whew. 39 minutes almost into it.
Yeah, 11,000 gold, the difference after that one. big lead now opened up by Envy. Death cap completed by Pirean. We saw how huge Apollo is in this game. The Ardent Sensor as well as the 4 items really showing through. I mean, they basically 2v3'd on the backside of last fight, which I believe during this pause, if we can make sure we're not going right back in the game, they will pull up for us and we can go over it again because it's been chaos since that moment.
It has been. I mean, a lot of the series has felt very frantic, but again, Envy just feel like a team that's a little more together and it has honestly had more time together to play and build that synergy. Looks like we are going to pop back into the game. I believe it was a contact malfunction for Hakuho that caused the brief pause. Definitely do not want to be playing without both eyes, so made sure he fixes that one as we have the replay.
I'm really surprised you play in contacts. I'd always play in glasses because my eyes would dry out while I play. Anyway, the important things in this game is the big fight that I talked about before. And watch Apollo on the backside. Like, nothing is really able to go down on him. GoldenGlue dives in, gets exhausted by Hakuho, doesn't even have a chance to deal with the Caitlyn at this phase in the game. We already kind of talked about how Piglet played that side of the fight really well after Pirean made the entrance onto him. And then the chase down, we know Blast Cone in, has the Static Shiv charged, goes for the priority target, and this all led to the Baron.
Great little setup there for Envy. Lourlo fought what time he could, but Apollo has just been the star of almost both of the games that Envy have really looked strong in. They won game 1 with this comp. They may very well win this final game with it as well. Then again, this Caitlyn from Apollo at this stage with literally 6 items just seems unassailable. Piglet can't even walk close enough to not lose almost all of his health.
Yeah, well, what Team Liquid wants and needs to do is have Matt do some crazy initiation. Before that happens, where GoldenGlue nearly gets one shot. Anyway, you want the Rakan to go in with the Galio, and you hope to catch him in some crazy CC chain since he doesn't have flash up. Sure, he could QSS, but he's not going to be able to get out of that area of effect. And then pile on, but they've never done it.
And Envy's ability to play with pressure in every single lane, but to also react to situations either by finding opportunities or reacting when the teams go offensive on them has been one of their trademarks this split so far, and one of the best things I love about this team comp. And Envy, the reason they look like they run over games when they play this comp is because they're so good at this comp and this certain style. And mid inhibitor already down, top inhib's going to fall soon after. And I mean, bottom it already has the wave pressuring it, and Envy, I think, might have Baron for a touch longer, but Elder Dragon's up in 50 seconds if they need another big objective to play for. And TL again, running out of things to try and not let Envy kill.
Yeah, this game has been broken open after a couple big team fights and map movements by Envy. They close out here. That's 3 wins, which is as many as they had in the entirety of the spring split. And we're only just wrapping up week 2 for Envy because this is their second match of the weekend.
3-1 would be almost a dream start for Envy here, given what happened earlier in spring. But they still have a little bit of work to do, not too much more to go as Matt looks for the charm, dies instantly as he tries to take down Hakuho, I believe, and that might be all that they need here. Apollo forward on the GoldenGlue, evaporates him as well. There's the next kill. He's actually grabbed the double. That's going to be the triple kill, I believe. Apollo might end it with a real big finish. Still going to shoot away, looking for Lourlo there, trying to shoot him down, but he hears entrances away. Damage still there, needs the quadra, not going to grab it. The Penta may be denied, but the win will be there for Envy. 2-1, taking down Team Liquid.
Heroically retreating into his base, and Envy absolutely with the 2-1. They got to be happy about that. So much victory early on in the split. You can say what you want about strength of schedule, but they have matched that win total in the first 2 weeks, which is so impressive. And Apollo looks so much better. Pirean really seems to add an edge to this team. Their macro and game sense seems so much stronger. They don't have those face checks that would end the games in the wrong direction that they had last split. And 3-1 Envy is not something we thought we would see after spring.
No, not at all. And again, the games have been tight at points, and I think a lot of their best of threes have gone the distance, but picking up the match wins is all you really care about. Envy won so many game 1s and then proceeded to lose the next 2, but they found a way to really convert those final games into wins for themselves, and it can only improve from here. The fact that it is so early on into the split, that it is just the end of week 2 for this team, means that there's so much more to go, and the team looks happy. Apollo with a big smile on his face after that game, and I can't blame him. Played 3 great games of Caitlyn.
I mean, how could he not? He got trolled in the spring split teaser for North American LCS, where he was dreaming about winning player of the games and then was one of the few players who didn't pick up a single one. Picked up one already. He's going to make a strong case for himself to do it once again in the deciding game of this series. And Envy's got a lot to smile about. They get Sunday when everyone else is playing. They're done the LCS this week already, 2-0. Can't ask for much more this early on in the split.
I don't think so either. And Envy, I mean, just looking so solid. I think, for me, the thing is, like, how long is it going to take for teams to start attacking them in draft, right? Like, I mean, LirA does get a lot of attention, which makes sense. He's such a strong jungler and has so many picks you do need to be afraid of. But, like, Taliyah and Caitlyn should not be together in any more Envy games. And just see what else they bring to you, because they will have to show more picks as the metagame develops and the season goes on. But if they're winning this way, and it is very clear that these are some of their best picks, just see what happens when you ban them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they banned a lot of LirA's picks in this series. They almost always ban at Elise, and everyone's throwing bans at Zach. And LirA did not have a good series as a result of that, I would almost say. His Nidalee was very ineffective in the second game. So they are targeting them in a small sense, but I agree with you, right? The Taliyah and the Caitlyn, playing them in both of the victorious games, you got to find a creative way to either deny those picks, ban them in the second phase of the draft, which they were able to do so. You can do it much more smartly than Team Liquid did today.
And that's impressive. If you have enough threats that, like, everyone's targeting your jungle, but you can still get work done, definitely credit for Envy for making it work. But for a first-hand account on that series, let's hand it off to Kobe for an interview.
Thank you, Pastry. That's right. We're with Hakuho, victorious support player. Now, yesterday we interviewed Apollo. You are a very big part of this bottom lane as well, doing a lot of the carrying. And recently with the support, meta that has shifted more towards playmaking, a lot of supports are saying, oh yeah, the shielding support's kind of screwed over a bit by Doran's shield for a lot of the AD carries, but you're sticking with the Karma and you're still, winning lane. You guys are pushing down the turret early. How do you feel about the balance right now between the two kind of sets of supports?
I think right now all the supports are pretty balanced. I think both of them still work. Some of the playmakers, like I think Xayah and Rakan together is super strong, but Caitlyn Karma still has pressure in the lane, at least until 6 is kind of hard. And I think late game Karma is still, like Karma Lourlo are still a lot stronger than the engaging supports. So usually we just play for like better scaling.
That's definitely been the case. The scaling as well as the shot calling has improved a lot for you guys. And that was something, last split where you guys would get kind of to the late game and never could quite finish them out. What's gone on within the team as far as maybe changing shot calling or being more clear in the late game for you guys, because you're finding so much more success now?
I think most of it was just since we were a new team, it was hard since we had communication issues and like we weren't used to like how each person wanted to play, like our play styles were different. So I think the break was really good for us because we got to go boot camp in Korea again. And I think overall, just as a team, we've improved a lot.
Do you think it's going to be enough for next week? You guys are facing Echo Fox and TSM. How do you feel about your lineup in those matchups next week?
I'm not sure about TSM because they're kind of like playing bad right now, but I think it's mostly just because they aren't used to the new patch. So I have to wait and see like a more practiced TSM. Hopefully they're like the same as these past 2 weeks. And Echo Fox I think is okay, but I think our play style is better than theirs, at least for playing towards late game. I think we'll win.
All right, well, good luck next week then, and congratulations once again. Now we're going to send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Kobe. Great cast on the day to Pastry and Jatt. And now we see Envy move up the standings a little bit more. Looking at their 3-1 now. It's got, or 2-1 now. Got to feel very, very good to start off a split like this and a 2-0 week here.
I mean, it's huge for them because, like Zyrene was saying, this is as many match victories as they had last split. So already having a better season. I guess some way they could lose the next 14. And
I don't think so.
Some way it's possible, but I don't think it'll happen.
They got to play Team Liquid again.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, generally they just look better too. Not just, last season they were so close to winning so many games. It's almost shocking to hear that they only had 3 match wins. And this time around getting another win. And the whole team looking better together.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is the boot camp that they were talking about. But also, I think the coach Violet bringing him in really helped their macro game a whole bunch. Like, they are communicating way more. And we're seeing teams like Dignitas and Envy both step up because of communication more so than like gigantic roster changes. But I do think Pirean deserves a lot of credit.
A thing that happens too is usually an import's like first season in North America, they struggle a little bit more, not just because like team synergy issues, but like adapting to American culture and what it's like here and getting used to living in the States. So that's a big part of it. And then diving into this game specifically, just the draft, I have to question why TL kind of abandoned the plan that worked for them in the last game. They can flex the Galio if they want to. They leave up the Taliyah this time, and they put the Lucian mid. It's totally different from what worked well in game 2.
Yeah, they got the Galio, and it's like, you know what? Lucian would be great here.
I mean, it is in some sense, but
Is it a factor of teams getting kind of a little too ahead of themselves, saying, you know what, this worked, but they're expecting it. So if we take it again and flex it, then they won't be expecting that. But then the team then hurts themselves in the end.
I feel like maybe a little bit where you mind game or play yourself, but I feel like if you're doing that, you're not playing your own game, right? You're kind of like making sure that you're not playing into their game because they saw your game earlier. It's like this whole thing where you should just play
your game.
what you're really good at, play your best, and like go forward on that foot. I don't feel like you have to play too many tricky mind games like that, especially when it worked and they didn't seem to have an answer for it.
All right, we will get right into this game. Bring up our first replay, 15:30 on this to get things started. A 2-for-1 here in the bot lane. And we figured there'd be a little bit of focus here to start things off.
And TL had a dive just previous to this to start breaking down this bot lane turret. This time they go to finish it, but they overstay. And it's pretty funny watching as they keep trying to get over that wall, keep staying in the area. And eventually, like we said, the Lourlo teleport was late. They focused down Piglet, and this is before they overextend a little bit too long. I mean, the chase down for this last kill that NV gives up is going to be a long time.
Yeah, the wall comes in afterwards, but Matt, man, those traps, he just like gets CC'd after flashing, then he E's, goes over a trap, eats a headshot, dies. It's like, But yeah, this one wasn't the wall, sorry about that. It was the one that they actually just got the counter kill because of the Galio coming in.
You mentioned chasing a little bit. There's actually quite a bit of chasing in this game we saw going back and forth. That means our next replay quite a ways down the line, almost 20 more minutes. 37:30 is the NV 4-for-2. And then after this, they go for the objective, the bear.
And this almost looks like a good fight for Team Liquid. They open up onto Piglet, and it looks like he's going to get low, but the redemption heal comes up huge. He just goes back up to full, and it looks like Pirean might have messed up getting caught out.
That was scary.
Autos. Yeah, it looks like this is going to go bad, but what you missed is on the top side of this fight, Apollo has gone mostly untouched, dealt with some of the front line of Team Liquid, and now he's in full pursuit mode. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get in range, but I love the aggressiveness. This is something that people previously criticized Apollo about a little bit, but he's willing to flash in here and know that he can finish Piglet off and not getting too worried about the fact tanks are around.
Yeah, it's a big shift for him too, because I remember at the end of last split where it was like, man, they're playing comps that revolve around Apollo, and he's like kind of still playing mid/backline all the time.
It's a lot of
even when like those situations happen, he would have stopped and been like, oh, wait for my tank line to get in front of me. But now he's realizing those opportunities that he can go forward. Look at that ridiculous amount of damage he's able to do this game. The guy is really just turned on this split.
And to be fair, that's not even like that much of a protect the Caitlyn comp. This isn't like Ivern or Karma. This is a lot of other damage dealers where he's just being the major focal point in these team fights, kind of on his own after having a great laning phase. All 3 games, the Caitlyn Karma lane smashed the Xayah Rakan lane.
Yeah, but against the composition that's drafted here by TL, he doesn't really have to worry about anything that's going to blow him up, right? There's a low-range mid-Lucian. You don't worry about like a Victor or anything that can possibly just destroy you. And then there's also the Xayah as well, which takes a little bit in terms of like auto attacks to get feathers down to even have the pass-through damage. So he had range advantage over pretty much everybody in the game. But Apollo leveraged that instead of waiting for his team to like set up and then leverage it.
There's a joke here. Who is that on the horizon? Is that Wiz Fusion? It's Apollo. He's just stepping back up again. A lot more resources being put into him.
The Sun God.
Yeah, he's coming out with the plays and the results the team wants to get out of him as well. Right now, we would like to welcome everybody from NA LCS 1 over from Immortals versus the FlyQuest matchup. Quite another best of 3 matchup to go all the way down the line. FlyQuest trying to really pull everything out of them in the mix for champion select, but again, they fall a little short.
Yeah, and that's kind of the sad thing for FlyQuest joining TL now at 0-3. Still have another match to play this week, but things not looking too good. A lot of just general mistakes of over-aggression and kind of giving up kills. It's been something that's been plaguing them all the way if you go back to last split, but at the very least, they were getting much better early games. This time around, once again, they have these really aggressive compositions, and they go in, and then if they ever make one mistake, it feels like they're not capable of playing from behind.
Exactly. There were a few fights that the Zach, which in Champions like made it through, got first pick by Xmithy. We know he's good at these types of junglers, and he's been more and more of a playmaker this split, and a lot of the members of Immortals have been kind of vocal about the fact that Xmithy can identify and go for those plays. This is a perfect champion for him right now in the meta, and it was pretty ridiculous. I feel like Xmithy, during the mid-game, had a kind of a clinic on how to turn a game around to Zach with the setup that he was able to provide. They got flashes from Wild Turtle, and then he's able to just bring in the carries.
And I jumped ahead of myself, welcoming NA LCS 1 over, so welcome again. Thank you for joining us. We're going over the FlyQuest game now, as we jump right into the replay, 13 minutes in. Yeah, the Immortals game, I should say. as they come over. Immortals with the victory here over FlyQuest, and things start here. Immortals going for quite a clean dive in the bot side.
We talk about how sometimes we saw FlyQuest getting over aggressive. Immortals were no stranger to that as well. They see Smithy come in early. They realize the teleport's behind them, so they try and turn back. Pobelter's coming in the backside right now. He has to run through the turret. They blow up the Renekton, who was pretty low health from the dive failing already, and it's just a chase down onto Pobelter. And Cody Sun walking forward, thinking he can maybe get a cleanup kill. He gets it, but he's going to give his life up as well to pick that up.
Yeah, this was just kind of a fiasco. This is where we're getting ready for, you know, the party hats.
FlyQuest first win.
Exactly. Is this going to keep going? And then it just really stalled out, and Immortals got multiple fights that just started to go their way later on.
It really did. These consecutively go. 17 minutes now, just a little bit later. A 3-for-1 in the top lane. Usually these are 1-for-1, 2-for-1s, but multiple people going down each time.
Yeah, this time around, we talk about the over-aggression. They get the nice kill onto Flame, but now they're extended in the long lane.
They look good, right?
Yeah, they look all right. They're trying to recall out of here. You see one person back. Now they're starting to do the other people. The empowered recall getting them back a little bit earlier, and now Ole sees him and says, aha, I'm going to stop this recall. And a good collapse here by the rest of Immortals. Cody Sun flashes over the wall, makes sure to finish off high. Nice move by Ole to keep himself alive here. Turtle does flash in for the kill, but obviously that puts him in range of Cody Sun to get the follow-up, and now Lemonation caught off by himself with Pobelter flanking.
Exactly. Right there, it's like, could Wild Turtle have actually just gone for more shots onto Cody Sun? It's unsure, because he did have Jett's stance at that point, so he was going to bleed a lot of that damage anyway.
Absolutely. So we can already see the skirmishes coming to be just 8 minutes later. 25-30 Immortals, 3-for-0 mid to Baron.
This was the big one. Wild Turtle doesn't have flash, and then the Bard ulti hits him. Immediately, Zac hits him. Ultimate comes through. Cleanse flash has to come through from high to avoid this, because look at that. Xmithy just delivers Wild Turtle to his team. Let's bounce right into death. And then I love this as well. Just that long range, able to get 3 with the knock up there. And
get bubble gum in your hair.
It's a nightmare. But that was a great play by Xmithy, and you get to see why Zac is just banned all the time. Even if he falls behind a little bit early on, he has so much team fight presence with his passive, with his multiple forms of CC and initiation, and as well as having respectable damage numbers. So
the 2 games I've seen him in this split, he has crushed so far. The other ones that maybe have not casted or caught so far in the NA LCS, but so far the 2 have seen him in. This being one, it's been pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, there's that LirA game where they lost with it, but he still had some monster team fights as a 4-man ultimate.
Oh,
there
were some 4-man.
You see the potential of it.
I was like, this game's over. He just got a 4-man. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
But it looked cool. It looked cool.
It happens. It's the ults we all wish we could have at times. Player of the game going to Xmithy on this one. Great engages as we saw, great gank pressure, and huge ults in the late game. Xmithy has just been, as we said before, the acquisition that really Immortals was looking for.
We mentioned it a bunch of times already over the course of this series. Brings a different style than Dardoch. The team plays a little bit more controlled. Well, maybe not quite as much this series, but last week a little bit more controlled. This time, very scrappy series overall, but able to come up huge at the end of the game, getting those critical team fight engages. Yeah,
and it's funny because like Xmithy is shining on a team that has Ole, who's been a playmaker on it. They have Flame, who could be a carry top. They have Pobelter. And they also have Cody Sun, who was coming off of his rookie split, now in his sophomore split, and he looked better and better. But Xmithy's picked up multiple player of the games. He picked up both today in the Immortals victories. So this guy is really just shining a lot more than he had in the past in almost all of his CLG splits.
Looking to repeat a little bit of history for Immortals there. So earlier today, we asked you, which playmaking support do you want to see in the NA LCS and why? Here is what some of you think. At Galio Support said, had his dream come true, or he had his dream come true as Gate showed off the Colossus in the bot lane. He said, he has a great skill set to poke the enemy lane and is very effective against AP supports. Also, he protects the ADC. Feels good for ADCs.
I wonder if that guy has an OG Galio support, like pre-rework.
Oh, yeah.
Old Galio with the speed up.
The Resolute Smite, Righteous Gust.
Yeah.
That's a good skill set.
Yeah, like old Galio support definitely sucked because it had mana problems all the time. And now I think it still kind of sucks because it has mana problems. So I feel like you shore that up.
Downer over here.
Well, also, like, what
yeah,
do you,
I mean,
like,
it won.
you can't really take like the Spell Thief's Edge anymore either. Like, we reduced how much mana per 5 you get on that. And then also, you throw out your Q, you only get 1 tick of it every time. So you're spending like 80 mana for 1 tick of it to actually go off and give you gold back. So it takes forever to get that. It's just like, I don't think it's very good.
Don't listen to Zyrian, all right? Believe in your Galio support.
I don't think Galio support's good.
Gabe believed in it.
I think that Galio is good, so he could be played support. I just don't think it's even close to optimal.
All right, next to you, let's see what the people have to say at Dragos Kritku.
Oh, nice.
Something like that. Said, I'd really like to see Leona or Blitz more because once they get to make a play, a kill is secured. This way, it's less boring, so flash hook. I like that. Less boring is fantastic.
Always want Leona to come back in the meta. It is more difficult than, let's say, the Blitzcrank, like you mentioned, because you can always fish from hooks from a relatively safe range, whereas Leona, to be effective, really, really needs to commit. She goes all in. She is no escape, and you have your ultimate, which I guess is like slightly more range, but it's still a much longer cooldown than the hook. So if you're looking for less committed engage, you still have to spend more resources to do it.
Yeah, could be paired well with a Galio if you land an E.
Going double melee bot lane?
Yeah. Oh, yes, Galio support. Just throw it again.
Yeah.
I was like, not from support. I already knocked that already today.
All right, one more tweet. Then, @Dreamwalkers wants to see the Rakan all day. Never get sick of seeing those clean flash engages. We got some from Aframu, some from Biofrost today. Smoothie had a fantastic one yesterday. It has been crazy.
He said he wanted to see it all day. We did see it all day.
We did see it all day.
Picked all 3 games in the TL series, picked multiple times in pretty much every series here. And the champion is just pretty disgusting in terms of how far away his range is for engaging. And even if he screws it up, he's not like Leona where you flail. You're just like, oh, I just E right back out. All right.
That said, he isn't, I would say, overpowered based off what we've seen. He does have some stuff that can feel a little broken at points where you have the instant charm and to knock up. But if you're not comboing that with other abilities well, then they just land and they're fine because he's not like he's bringing a ton of damage. So you do have to coordinate with him well. And he does have a slightly weak laning phase. It's not like he's completely crazy, which is why it's nice to see him because you have to appreciate the skill it still takes to play.
Requires a lot of teamwork, too, because they can leave you out to dry just by walking away. You don't have an out to the fight. So with our matches in the books, let's see how the standings have shifted. CLG and Team Dignitas maintain a 3-0 record, tied at first, while Echo Fox drops to 5th and TSM to 6th place. We'll see what teams can end their weekend on a high note with our games tomorrow. The day begins with Echo Fox and Cloud9 taking the stage on NA LCS 1, and then the Battle Arena hosts El Clasico matchup, Counterlogic Gaming versus TSM. Over on NA LCS 2, Team Dignitas tried to end their week at 4-0 against Team Liquid, with a rematch of Spring Split's 3rd place match, Phoenix 1 versus FlyQuest, at the end of the day. Now, for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, you know what time it is. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more North American LCS. It's time to go to bed.
Good night.
Good night.